Hi, welcome to Words of This Life podcast. My name is Pablo, and here we share real and impactful Christian stories from believers who love the Lord and His Word. Through these testimonies, we want to showcase the virtues of the one who's called us out of darkness into His marvelous light. Virtues that are at work in everyday people, shaping their character, guiding their actions, and shining forth His life into the world. We're so happy you're here with us for this episode, and let's get right into it.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Words of This Life podcast. My name is Io. I'm here with my co-host Pablo.
Hi, everyone.
And as you can see, things are a little different for this episode. We're completely virtual. But yeah, we're here to have another great conversation with a dear brother that we know, Adolfo Fernandez. So happy to have you, Adolfo.
Brothers, it's a blessing to be here. Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's great. I've been following the podcast, the show, and it's a privilege to be here with you, brothers.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome to hear that all the way across the pond, there's some followers, some listeners to the podcast.
You
Wow.
guys have many followers than you think.
Ah, yeah, well, praise the Lord that the internet can reach. There's no boundaries, no borders to the internet. So that's great. Glad you've been able to enjoy it a little bit. It's great.
Yeah, it's been great.
And yeah, so like we said, Adolfo is all the way across the pond. He's in London. How long have you been living in London, Adolfo? How long has it been?
It's been 5 years and a few months already.
Wow.
Yeah, 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know we definitely want to get to that, how the Lord led you to move, across continent and really a new environment. But let's wind it back and start as early as you'd like. Just maybe you can introduce yourself and share a little bit of your testimony intertwined with your early life as far back as you'd like, just to get to know a little bit who you are.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
just feel free. We have a lot of time. So along the way, I myself could ask some questions, but yeah, just tell us a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, my name is Adolfo Fernandez. I was born in Bolivia. It's the same where Paulo was born. So actually, that'll be maybe we'll
That's
talk
correct.
about it later.
Yeah.
But I was born in a city called Cochabamba, Bolivia, which is in the center of South, Bolivia. And yeah, I grew up in a Christian home. I guess growing up in South America, like many Latin American countries, we kind of grew up usually either nominal Christian or Catholic. But by the time I was born, my family were already believers, regenerated believers, baptized. And yeah, recently I was just recalling my testimony. Basically, started with them. My family actually is interesting. They got saved through some Swedish missionaries that preached the gospel to them. Because
Wow.
my grandmother, typical, Latin American person, grew up with the Catholicism, but she had obviously a Bible and read the Word of God, which actually helped her a lot too. So she believed that she was regenerated even before that episode of the missionaries preaching to the family. But yeah, it was the missionaries who kind of led our family to really have a clear realization of the Lord's salvation and to baptize. So, anyways, I grew up in that environment, Bolivia, just with my family praying, having prayer meetings at home, just having the fear of the Lord, having realizing that yeah, God is with our family. So, and then yeah, and then at the age of 10, I moved to Texas. The Lord moved me to Texas. With my family was there, and I just kind of continue, to be in church, to be in, with my family. But then my grandmother, who was very key figure in my life, because she basically raised me. Because my parents, they had to migrate. They moved to Houston when I was little, so I was left under the care of my grandmother. And so my grandmother basically raised me. And my grandmother really during that time, she prayed a lot for me, and then she was really uh, I guess she had a heart that I will be safe, that they'll come to salvation. So I remember we went to a Christian conference, and yeah, I guess one of the brothers who was close to our family, she spoke to him saying, "Can you like basically preach the gospel to my grandson?" And so yeah, I forget how old I was. I must have been like what, like maybe 12, 12, 10, yeah. So I remember the brother just sat me down. He basically preached the gospel to me. Because before, I mean, just being in that environment, I guess my grandma realized doesn't mean that he's being regenerated.
Yeah.
So she really wanted to make sure I take that step. So the brother basically preached the gospel to me. And yeah, I just remember just being so soft, saying like, I grew up with this. So the things of God are always good. So I just received it. And then the brother obviously encouraged me to get baptized. He said, like, maybe don't delay your baptism. Get baptized as soon as you can. And so the following Sunday, like a Sunday meeting, we got baptized there. And it
Wow.
was very normal, I'll say it was very normal. But yeah, that's a little bit of my testimony. But then I definitely had a strong transaction with the Lord when I was almost 15. I feel it's interesting because afterward, I just continue, but the Lord really touched me in a strong, a dynamic way when I was like 14, 15. And that was I realized at that moment that my life will never be the same. So, and then, just kind of, the Lord has been faithful.
Wow.
That's another big move. South America to Texas is it's another very stark change of environment, of language. Did you go to the U.S. knowing English, or did you have to learn all from scratch, or what happened there?
Basically had to learn it from scratch. Although
Wow.
my parents had put me in English classes like 6 months prior or a year prior to my moving to the US. But I mean, come on, it was a joke. I was just like
Yeah.
learning basic things, but I wasn't really paying attention. But it was not until I moved to the US that I think, I had to basically learn it from scratch. And I guess being in that environment where just full on English, that was big.
Wow.
Yeah. But I have family. I had a cousins too there that were a big support, helped me a lot. Yeah.
Wow.
It's the first time for me I hear about the Swedish missionaries preaching the gospel to your family. I don't think I knew that part. How old were you when they contacted your family? How old were you?
I don't think I wasn't born yet.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So I believe my uncle, I think he was looking for a job, and the Swedish missionaries needed some help with driving some supplies because they were helping people in the outskirts of Bolivia, in the remote places, and they just basically got him to drive their vehicle for them so they can reach to these local remote places, and it was through them that basically my uncle first then was baptized, regenerated, and then through him, then the family just kind of entered in, and yeah, my grandmother eventually was baptized, the whole family basically. So by the time I was born, I mean, my whole family were already, regenerated, born again Christians. Yeah.
I just think that's amazing. You have Swedish missionaries, they somehow make it to Bolivia, and
Yeah.
the Lord is flowing through an entire family, generations, and then
Yeah.
we get you. You know what I mean? I think
Yes.
that's just really cool. But anyway, go ahead. What were you gonna say, Pablo?
Now I'm thinking about what you just said. That's amazing. Like how God, has done this so that the gospel has spread to, all over the earth, and there you have a family, Adolfo's family, and then in just one generation, like God comes in, and the destiny of all everyone else is changed just because
Yeah.
some were faithful to bring the gospel. That's amazing. Yeah, in Cochabamba of all places, like,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
the gospel would go all the way, people would have the burden to go all the way there. It's really
Yeah.
amazing. Um,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
then you grew up in the community of believers that your family came into, and
Yeah.
then what are some of your early memories of, you said you grew up with the fear of God. How do you
Mhm.
think the fear of God was kind of impressed upon you? And yeah, like what was it in the community of believers, or was it observing your parents at home and they're living out of Christ, or was it a mentor, or what was that? What was it that kind of instilled in you you said you knew that God was real and that the fear of God was real to you. Yeah, what do you think were the things as a child that made that impression?
Yeah. Well, for me, I think what helped me was, like I mentioned, my grandmother. I think she was a key factor in infusing her faith into me. speaking the things of God to me. And even, yeah, her living, the things that she's been through, what she expressed to me was a big pattern. And then I guess another thing, the reason I say God I knew God was real because, when I was little, I didn't grow up with my parents. I
Yeah.
only had my grandmother and my uncle. Basically, my dad's side of the family helped kind of raise me during that period of time that I was getting ready to go to the U.S. So because I didn't have my parents, you can imagine as a child, when it was like Father's Day or Mother's Day in school, it's like I didn't have that. And I remember even as a small age, just sometimes crying and, even like knowing, oh, I can speak to God and
Yeah.
having these conversations with them. And I realized just, yeah, I mean, I was little. I didn't know what I was saying. I didn't have full realization, but I just remember just having these transactions with the Lord, even as a young age saying like, how come I don't have my dad with me? Or how come I don't have my mom with me?
Yeah.
And, yeah, just sensing, well, that he was there. I don't know, as a child, I just sense, oh, God is with me. And, so I guess growing up in that environment and, my aunt too, she used to have prayer meetings at our home. When I lived with them, they used to have prayer meetings at their home. Um, so yeah, it was just, that's kind of the environment. And my aunt, one of my aunts who helped raise me also, she worked with kids that were, not an orphanage. I guess you can call it an orphanage with kids. She helped with kids that were abandoned. So she helped with this group of Christians who basically they had a property where they will provide housing for them and kind of to help them. So yeah, that was a pattern of like just her like living, caring for people and things like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. So your aunt really had a heart to like serve people, and kind of
Yeah,
maybe that, that's in you. You do service now, right? You're involved in service,
I am. I am. I'm.
all these things sometimes get passed down through generation to generation, the heart for God, the heart for the things of God. And I think maybe probably
Absolutely.
your aunt had a big impression. Wow.
Yeah. No doubt.
I
Yeah.
did I did want to ask you, you mentioned that you were saved around, 10, 11, 12, around that age,
Hmm.
and that you said you were generally just soft to the things of God. And I feel like I relate to that when I was that age, like,
Yeah.
God is good.
Yeah.
Why not do the God
Yeah.
thing? You know what I mean? But then you mentioned that around 14, 15, something switched. And I'm sure you went from just like, God is just generally good to maybe something more personal. So
Yeah.
what was that situation?
Yeah. I usually don't talk about it too much because, anyways, but it was, yeah, okay, I'll recall at the moment. So it was one of those that during that time, once I moved back to the States, to the Houston, although I was with my parents, I still live with my grandmother. So my parents were like a block away, let's say, and I lived still with my grandmother because I was just, to me, it was like my mom. And also my parents felt good for me to remain with her. Anyhow, so I used to, go to school, just live with her. And one day, um, came back from school. I was in middle school. Came back from school, and my grandmother, she was old school. All grandmas are very like, sometimes they want to train you the ways. I got home and she was like, have you spent time with the Lord today? She asked me that. She used to ask me that because we had a devotional, that we used to cover. And, just to take care of my grandmother, make sure she doesn't get mad. I said, all right, I'll do it. Don't, I told her I haven't done it. So I went to the room and I opened this devotional and I'm reading. I'm like reading. And at one point I'm just kind of choking. I couldn't continue reading. And all of a sudden, I don't know, I think just the Lord touched me with his spirit and I just started crying. And I didn't know what was happening, because I was very young. But I remember in the middle of that commotion, because I remember I just got on my knees and I was just kind of crying and just didn't know what really was happening. But in the midst of all that, I just remember hearing the back of my head, the back of my ear, I hear my grandmother in the back saying, praise the Lord, like she
Wow.
was praising because I think she realized what was happening to me. And I think maybe that was like, she realized that was the answer to her prayers, that the Lord was really having a real transaction with me, kind of like shining on me. And the reason I know is the Lord, because it was so dynamic that the next day, I mean, I was a young person, right? I was in middle school. The next day, I had posters, from wrestling, WWE. I had all these things. It's interesting. The next day I woke up and it just kind of disgusted me. I couldn't look at them anymore. And I remember like taking them off from my wall, ripping them off, even throwing them on the trash can, and even some CDs I had from just secular music. I just started throwing them away. I just started getting rid of, because it kind of just felt filthy to me. And then yeah, so little things so it was very dynamic, very dynamic. And then I remember then I'll see my grandmother reading the Bible, and I would just start crying. I started weeping, I started tearing up. So truly, to me, it felt like, that verse that says in the Old Testament that God will give you a new heart and a new spirit. The heart of stone is turned into a heart of flesh. So I felt that definitely happened to me. And I don't know, yes, like I said, I was very young. So for a while, I was really struck and confused. Like, what happened, Eventually, obviously, over the years, the Lord, as I grew humanly, but also spiritually, I realized, okay, that was the Lord's appearing to me. But when that happened, that's why I mentioned it. I realized that it's like my life will never be the same. I knew
Wow.
that at that point. I was like, yeah, there's no doubt God is real, and God is not just real outwardly, but God is real more like I experienced Him. So yeah, that's a little bit of what happened that day.
Wow.
Wow.
It was a Wednesday. I'll
Do you
never
remember
forget.
what you were reading?
I don't. I really. For many years, I was trying to recall what was I reading. Because you always, especially when something like that happens, sometimes you try to analyze. So what's that specific word, or All I remember, I was just sitting by the end of the bed, sitting down, open this devotional. I'm just trying to go over it, just kind of to check the box, and tell Grandma I did it. But then, yeah, the Lord just appeared, the God of glory.
Amen. Yeah, it's incredible how the God of glory can appear in the most simple, like routine things, like just
Yeah,
your room with a devotional. And then
yeah,
I like the verse you quoted about the new heart, and then all of a sudden your heart is like burning for God in a moment, and
yeah.
you're not the same. Like it's just that verse is really true. And I just want to ask you then, 15, that's 15 years old, right?
Yeah, I must have been fit because yeah, it was eighth grade. Yeah, I was eighth grader.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
around, yeah.
Yeah, and then you had a lot of still, I mean, that's so long ago, a lot of living to do in terms of, high school, college, and how, our heart for the Lord is so important, and to keep it and to preserve it. How has the Lord been able, have there been any experiences along the way where you realized that the Lord has really kept me, kept my heart, because our heart can, go one way or the other, Uh,
Hmm.
but anyways, maybe just run us through high school and college so we can get, eventually to your big move to London. But
Yeah, yeah,
were
yeah.
there any experiences or things of the Lord keeping you, and ways that you pursued the Lord? Yeah.
Yeah, well, well, after that experience, like I mentioned, it was so dynamic that I mean, I was doing things that no one taught me to do. One of them was like, I remember I was preaching the gospel in my bus, and even people would make fun of me. They're like, "Oh, there's the Jesus boy." And
Wow.
I mean, I don't know. I look back, I was like, that was really the Lord in me. But that was it. I was just overflowing of something that happened to me. But then, that happened. So I was burning, and I mean, even just I was more involved in the church meetings as much as I could. And but then when I got to high school, same thing. Very, I was trying to, but I wasn't. I would say I wasn't equipped. I was just. It was kind of like that the Lord appeared to me, and my reaction was just to overflow, right? To burn and do all the kind of those things issue out of it. But I feel like the Lord was faithful, because that became a foundation later on, just even having an experience of just conversing with the Lord at lunch. And sometimes, I'll test the Lord, I'm hungry. Can you get, what, doing things, and like someone will give me money, out of nowhere. These things that I'm sure we had experiences like that. It's kind of like the Lord showing himself that he's real, that he's with me. He's a living person. But then high school came, and high school was great. I mean, I personally love high school. I know some people sometimes have different experiences, but for me, high school was great. I think naturally I was just very like a social person. I try to get along with just people in general. Play soccer there, so I made good friendships that I'm still in contact with up to this day. Just playing soccer. So for me, high school was great. I had a lot of fun. But then, spiritually speaking, that's where I started sloping down. Especially towards my senior year of high school. Because you're about to end a chapter in your life to go to college. And yeah, I mean, for me, it was more like social. My friends sometimes invited me to different things, or even relationships. You have relationships and things like that. And then though, yeah, just like a normal, I guess you could say, like a young guy, just start, doing things that young people do. And I think, but spiritually speaking, that also obviously, then I went south. So from a burning stage, the Lord took me, and then I was just kind of, so for a while after high school, basically, I didn't go right to college right after high school. I started working, because I forgot. I think my senior year in high school, I was just kind of like, just having too much fun. I wasn't really focused on academically. Even my junior year, I guess I was focused more on playing soccer and just having fun than academically. So by the time I graduated, I just started working. I found like a decent job for that time. And so, yeah, my life was just kind of like working and then going out with friends. And so for a while, I wasn't really, you can say, pursuing, or my heart for the Lord kind of just, that fire, you can say, dwindle myself. Yeah, just kind of, yeah, doing my own thing, with friends, social, and even academically. I mean, I wasn't doing well, and my parents were worried. They were asking me, when are you gonna go, get a degree? I was just too busy earning money, and then just kind of like going out on the weekends. That was kind of like my life during that time. So I did that for a few years, and then in college, eventually the Lord let me. That was the Lord's mercy. I don't know how I got into college, but because I was going to a community college nearby just to kind of fulfill my parents' kind of like wish to study.
Yeah.
So my plan was like, okay, I'm just gonna enroll to a like local community college and take a class. I was taking like a class, per semester. But it was more to say, oh yeah, I'm taking that classes, to my parents. But in reality, my heart was I was just having fun, honestly, just having fun. I was working during that time. I was working for sales, and to some extent, because I was kind of successful. I was doing pretty well for that age, and I was earning a lot, like good money for that time. So during that time, I was just like squandering money, basically, like earning a lot, doing all these sales and just having fun. But eventually, the Lord got me into University of Houston. So go Cougs. I know there's been a lot of UT alumni here, so. But yeah, I went to University of Houston initially with the goal of getting a degree in the business school. So even that was a journey because my GPA was terrible. So when I got admitted, actually, I got admitted to the School of Arts, which I wonder why. I don't know. Anyways, I don't know. That was just the Lord's sovereignty. I got in, but in my heart, I was like, I want to go to the business school. So the Lord opened the way for a counselor. Because I remember I went to a counselor at the business school, and the first one I spoke to, she basically kind of like blew me off. She said like, yeah, maybe just go to another college, or she didn't really give me a guidance. But then I spoke to another counselor who the Lord sent me. I think he was a believer. No, I have no doubt he was a Christian. Just the way he carried himself and even the way he helped me, he really had the heart to help me. He guided me. He said, okay, Adolfo, this is what you need to do to get into the business school. And specifically, I wanted to do supply chain management, which required a higher GPA. So anyhow, yeah, through a lot of hard work, and I guess his guidance and, a lot of prayer, the Lord just interceding behind the scene, I was able to go through my education and get a degree in supply chain management.
I wanted to ask, because the life that you were living, in a way, is the dream for someone around 18 to like
Yeah.
22. If I could, if graduating from high school, making money, making good money,
Yeah.
and
Right.
then maybe even going to school and like being able to like I don't know what your financial situation was, but maybe affording it, like having a
Yeah.
plan and looking to okay, level up. I was making money at a certain amount of money without school. Let's see if I can go to school and multiply what I was doing. It just sounded comfortable, and it was goal oriented. But I wanted to ask, when did that alignment for your life get shaken by the Lord? When did the Lord come in and say, Adolfo, your life is for more than just how much money you can make,
Hmm.
what degree you can get. Your life is for me. When did that? Was that in U of H?
I think it started there because, yeah, one thing I forgot to mention is actually it was not until I started at the University of Houston that I got reconnected with some, like, student brothers. Student
Mm,
brothers were like or a Christian club. And that was where you can say I got recovered again. My heart, my love for the Lord started to be recovered.
wow.
Just because kind of felt like the prodigal son, like, like the story of many of us, just kind of lost.
Right.
And so yeah, University of Houston, being with those brothers, and that, we used to live in, like, I wasn't officially on paper at the brother's house, but I was there all the time. I was there, so it's kind of I was part of the brother's house. It was a group of us who lived together. And yeah, it was great. We just had basically I entered into this community of brothers who just like loved the Lord, wanted to pursue him, wanted to grow in him. And here I was just coming with with all the baggage, all the worldly things. But then through that experiences in university, even having some who took care of me during that time,
Mm.
because prior to going to University of Houston, there's these two brothers who somehow, I don't know why, but the Lord gave him a heart for me, to just pray for me, to reach out to me. So even the times, because you can imagine during the time I was kind of living it up, you can say I wasn't going to church, I wasn't going to any meetings, I wasn't going to, I was missing an action basically. But
Mhm.
these two brothers will reach out to me, even they'll drive all the way from downtown Houston to where I was, which is
Mm.
Southwest Houston, almost like an hour drive. They'll drive to meet me just to spend time with me and to try to, just spend some time in the Word. So all these things, I think, yeah, it was that the Lord used to slowly show me what really matters, right? What really the Lord wants to gain in me, or what's really worth it. But
Wow.
I guess to answer your question, I had a culmination at kind of like my grandmother's memorial service, because after University of Houston, it was great. I mean, I got my degree. You can say the Lord was slowly recovering my heart for Him and my love for Him, but still with this kind of like not willing to let go of that life, that social life, the enjoyment of the world, whatever you can call it. Still there. The Lord gave me a job, but during that juncture too, my grandmother's health was deteriorating. She started having a lot of health problems, and so we spent a lot of time in the hospitals. And even the Lord was faithful to give me a corporate job, right after I graduated, like
Wow.
through a friend that I knew from my class. Um, and yeah, I started listening to podcasts like this one, like Christian messages that kind of helped me, to because I didn't have to travel for work. I was mainly in house. So I would just listen to like different podcasts or different messages or even the word, and just like audiobooks related to the Lord and all these things. I felt like it was just the Lord softening my heart, kind of conquering me again to himself, fully to himself, because I felt like I was still one step here and one step in the world, not willing to fully give my being. But then, yeah, my eventually in 2017, my grandmother went to be with the Lord. And then in her memorial service, I remember, because my grandmother grew up in a local church in Houston. We know for a while, that's where I grew up too. And the memorial service, a lot of the brothers and sisters were there. You just kind of, to remember her life. And to me, it's kind of like obviously I was heartbroken. And to me, it was more like I didn't need people to share about her life because I seen it and I was
Yeah.
with her. I knew what type of life she lived. But it was wonderful to just hear. But then at that memorial meeting is when I felt like the Lord kind of gave me like an ultimatum. The Lord, because I was looking at her, her casket. You could say, as the brothers were speaking, and I remember looking at it. And I was like, wow, like she did it. Like kind of where's that verse that Paul mentioned that I have finished.
Yeah.
Finished.
Second Timothy. Yeah.
Yeah, the Second Timothy. I have finished the course, right?
Yeah.
And the
Therefore,
crown,
there is laid up for me a crown of
you know,
righteousness.
righteousness. Somehow
Yeah.
that verse came to me, and I realized, okay, my grandmother, there you go. She finished her course, and
Yeah.
she did it. Kind of like, wow, she lived the life to the Lord. But then in return, as I was, this is all inward, right? I'm just thinking this inwardly. The Lord came back to me and asked me, what about you? What type of life are you going to live? And that I feel like that was kind of like a turning point in my life, because then I realized, okay, I need to make a decision, because I'm at a juncture in my life where, like, humanly speaking, what's next is marriage. Just humanly speaking, you just progress in life stages. But then spiritually, the Lord was asking me, what about you? What type of life are you going to live? Are you going to continue living this life of kind of like, yeah, you love me, you want to things, but yet still pursue other things. So, yeah, it culminated there. And then, yeah, I mean, I had to just reconsecrate my being to him. And, I told the Lord, I was like, Lord, yeah, I want to live a life for you, fully unto you. But yeah.
Wow.
And then, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, to say, Lord, I want to live a life fully unto you is, it looks different for many people, right? Like it can take it, people, drop your job, become a missionary, or, like in your job, do whatever you can to live to the Lord, So how has the Lord made that phrase more, what is it? Yeah, more real to you, Lord, to live to the Lord, or at that point and then now? I mean, uh, and how is that phrase kind of, what is it? What does it mean to live to the Lord? For
Yeah.
you, for Adolfo Fernandez.
Well, I'm still learning. I'm still
Yeah.
learning what that means. But no doubt, after that, another experience, the Lord allowed me to go to a Bible school too. I think that was the next step, because after that experience, I was I was wondering, like, okay, how do I start? How do I have a new beginning? And it was the Lord opened a way for me to go to Bible school for 2 years. And I felt that was just the Lord's way of equipping me to know how to live a life to him, which I'm still, obviously I'm still learning, I'm still growing. But to me, it's just to live a life of just loving him, you know, loving him and spending time with him, spending time in his presence. Um, yeah, I feel that's one way I feel like what has preserved me. And even having these moments with the Lord, because even during those times I was struggling, even those times when I was considered, should I go to this Bible school or not? The Lord reminded me of that experience when I was 15. Those are like memorials. So when I look back, I was like, okay, even when the Lord asked me that question, what type of life are you gonna live? It's like, duh, I'm all for you, because when I was 15, that experience, I knew right away that changed me. So it's like there's no other way or no other type of life I could live but then to live to him. Yeah.
Amen.
even today, I was reading this verse. Actually, it's in Galatians. Can I read it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Galatians, chapter 1, 15 and 16. But when it pleased God, who set me apart from my mother's womb and called me through his grace to reveal his son in me that I might announce him as the gospel. So anyways, yeah, just you realize that really everything in our lives, is really the Lord, and it pleases him to reveal his son in us. So I feel like through all of our experience and my experience and, going through all these life experiences and going through that Bible school really helped me to reveal his son in me. And he's, it's still constant. I'm still learning to live to him. Yeah. And every decision and
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not easy to live to another person. Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I went to a memorial service recently, and I think it's amazing how the passing of a believer is like a celebration. There's an infusion of life into the people that are at the memorial. Usually, just the secular thought is like, death in a sense is a sad thing, somebody leaving, but the Lord, I don't know,
Yeah.
in those memorial services is able to move and flow and be expressed and even grab new people and say, live to me,
Yeah.
um I think that's awesome. But I did want to ask you, like, um what was your experience at the Bible school? When did you meet your wife, and um how did you end up in the UK? What was that transition like?
Yeah, that's a good question. How did I end up here? Well, Bible school was great. To me, it was great. By the time I went to Bible school, because the Bible school, I think that Bible school that I went to, usually the age group is younger. I had, like I mentioned to you guys, I didn't go to college right away. So by the time I went to Bible school, I was in my late 20s, which for the Bible school that I went to, usually that's a little older, usually. So when I went there, by the time I went there, I just went with just gratefulness. I was like, God, I'm so glad I'm here. Just realizing, wow, He had mercy on me, and I have the opportunity to be in this place to learn more about Him, to learn His ways, to learn how to live a Christian life. So yeah, it was great. I mean, for me, it was wonderful. It was 2 amazing years. In the Bible school, I was able to be involved in the children's outreach. That was kind of like my service in there. And that's where I met my wife, actually, because she was also in that same program, Bible school, and same kind of outreach group. So we ended up in the same team, you can say. So yeah, that was, I guess, one challenge and of being in the Bible school, because being around her, I started developing feelings, and it just got complicated. It was hard, but
That's great.
but
You both met each other in the context of children, and now you serve the same child. You have a child together.
yeah, we have a son. We have a son now.
That's
Yeah,
great. Wow.
but
Sorry.
no, yeah, Bible school was great, yo. I mean, I felt for me, it just equipped me to be able to equip to continue to live this Christian life, but with a more with a direction, and even being aware of what's happening. Because sometimes as Christians, we just don't know what's happening. We have all these experiences that but we don't know what it is. But in the Bible school, I felt like, I don't know, to me, it felt like God was just opening what is in his heart, and taking me, just what he desires, and even how to spend time in the word, what it is to pray, and to exercise our spirit. We have a human spirit. Even that was a marvelous discovery, just experience for me. So yeah, I guess that was my experience, just learning, just got equipped with how to, like military people, when they're military, they just learn to get equipped on how to just be on the battlefield. And so in the same way, I feel like I got equipped to learn how to then just live this Christian life, the fundamentals, learn the fundamentals,
It's great. I like that word equipped. Yeah.
Yeah.
Believers need to be equipped, yeah, to live the Christian life. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then I guess Ayo's question was kind of a three-part question. Then how
Yeah,
I
sorry.
can answer how you met her, and then
Oh yeah.
you can keep
Yeah.
going how you met in the
Yeah.
UK.
I guess it's all connected because I met my wife in the program. She was a year ahead of me. So she graduated a year ahead of me. And my moving to London was, oh man, it's yeah, so basically I had no plan, no intention to move to London and to Europe. I had heard of, what the Lord had been doing here in Europe, how the Lord has been gaining Europeans, or what the Lord's been doing throughout Europe. But I even went in a, what do you call that, gospel trip during the Bible school. Yeah, where there's an opportunity to do like gospel trips to different parts. Sometimes there's to take place within the US, or you can go abroad. And in my case, I was able to go to Italy. So that was a great experience because when I was in university, my minor actually was Italian, a minor in Italian. And so to me, that was like, wow, the Lord allowed me to go to Italy to put to practice what He basically taught me, in university. So that was good. And in Italy, obviously, it was amazing experience to be able to preach the gospel and kind of just see the spiritual environment in Italy. So, but with that said, coming back to yes, I just it's always in your heart. It gets written in your heart what you see, what you experience, and by going to a different country, especially when you're doing the Lord's work, right? Because you're touching spiritual things,
Yeah.
and those things are eternal. So that was with me, but I never, and it was never in me say, okay, I'm gonna go back. Once I graduate the Bible school, I'm going to Italy, or I'm going to Europe in general. But then my wife, after she graduated the program, the Lord led her to come to London. She came here to be with her family, to help her mom. And then she ended up, the Lord opened a door for her to work for a Christian nonprofit, which we worked to get actually. And so she started working for this Christian, we call it charity here in the UK, but it's a nonprofit basically, a Christian charity that helps believers to grow in the faith through various means, And during that time, I think she was doing it. She was helping different type of believers through phone Bible studies. She was having a lot of phone Bible studies, and she was doing other admin work for the nonprofit. So no, she was already involved in here. So by the time I graduated, we started our relationship. Once I graduated the program, we started to stay in contact. We started, our relationship, and just found out that then she was already in London, because my wife is originally from Brazil, but she ended up in London, and she was doing this work of like taking care of believers through phone Bible studies. And so when we started a relationship, we knew that it was going to be a long distance ones. But like I said, I had no desire to come to Europe. So in my heart, when I was, when we're progressing in our relationship, and we knew, that we're for each other, that we were going to get engaged, we want to take the big step of getting engaged. In my heart, it was still like, okay, I'll bring her to Houston, I don't know. Yeah. My plan was just to go back to work, basically. After the Bible school, I had the desire to go back to work, take care of some student loans that I had. So valid reasons, but God had other plans. But yeah, and so during that juncture too, the pandemic happened, the lockdowns, because I graduated the program in December of 2019. So by the time, when we started a relationship, it was, the beginning of 2020, COVID, lockdowns started happening. I had the opportunity to come to London actually to be with her, just to spend time with her, and I volunteer. I volunteer for the Christian nonprofit. They have a camp, so during that time they were building a camp. I volunteer for that, so which is great. I think that helped me connect a little bit with the people who work. But still, when I didn't have the desire, but I think the Lord used that though. He used Gabby to lure me to get me here. and obviously the environment, because like I said, my heart was to get a job. And I remember that year 2020, I was applying for so many jobs, um, and I was getting in the last round, but nothing was happening. I mean, I did like 3 interviews, and it's like the last one is it, but nothing will, it's like the Lord was just closing the doors. It was not until I came back to London that year, to propose to her, to propose to her. And then, when I came here to propose to her, then I spoke to one of the managers of um, one of the managers of the Christian nonprofit here. And he asked me, have you ever considered coming to London to serve the Lord, to serve and be here? I don't know what happened. I guess obviously it's times of prayer, all that time we were long distance. Then at that moment, I just said, yes, I would like to. And that's where it just kind of like, it just kind of made sense.
Wow.
Peace was flowing. And then things just started happening that you just realize that was God's will for me, because, I ended up calling my family. Great big move, to move from Houston. Now I'm telling them I'm going to move to London. But the support of my family, even the support of my church community in Houston was great. They were all very happy. They were all like, they realized that this was something that the Lord was leading me to do. And then from my family side too, full on support, to come to London and to serve. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. And now you've been there 5 years, right, Adolfo?
Yeah.
5.
5 years and a few months. Yeah.
That's a good chunk of time. What would you say as a brother, as a Christian, what are the benefits of doing a move like this to the Christian, to yourself in your, very different place, right? Texas, London, it's a big migration, right? So
Yeah.
what are some of the positives of taking such a step in the Christian life in your experience? Have there been any lessons or any different ways of viewing things that you think that you would attached to this, to moving, sometimes when you're in one place for too long, maybe you stay the course, but I don't know, I'm
Yeah.
just curious if there's any lessons, learnings, different viewpoints as a result of migrating.
Well, humanly speaking, I would say humanly speaking, I mean, it just helps you grow so much because it gets you out of your culture, out of your comfort. So yeah, I mean, in my case, obviously moving to London or UK, the United Kingdom, is not that great in regards to language.
Sure.
So I didn't have to learn a different language. So communication is great. I was able to communicate, but nonetheless, a different culture, different way of doing things. So it enlarges you. But then spiritually, I just feel when we follow the Lord, there's just a sweetness to it. Um, and there's the blessing because we have His presence.
Yeah.
I remember one time one of the brothers who used to shepherd me during the Bible school, he had the opportunity to move to Russia once the Lord moved him you can say as a missionary. And in one of our just times with him, he did tell me something that always stuck with me. He said, Adolfo, if you ever get the opportunity to participate in the Lord's move, and that is, the Lord moving you, or the Lord has a particular move to move you, to follow Him, you will never regret it. And sometimes those come once in your lifetime. And he told me, if you have the opportunity to participate in one of those, at least once in your lifetime, it will be all worth it. And he was just sharing with me how much he felt like it benefited him spiritually, but it benefited his family even. And I remember and I can testify so far that it's true. I feel like spiritually, my wife and I have grown so much, being here. In so many ways. I mean, being with this Christian nonprofit here, we work at a bookshop, for example. We work at a Christian bookshop. And so we've been able to meet all type of people because it's like a retail store in the
What is it
center.
called, by the way? What is it called?
Amana Trust.
Okay.
Amana Trust, which means truth. Because Amana is mentioned in the book of Song of Songs, Amana, but it means truth. Um, So yeah, so the Christian charity or the Christian nonprofit here owns a property in central London. You can say downtown of London, and it's a bookshop, the bookstore. And so we sell Christian literature, and we offer free study Bibles. We do events and so forth. And so being here and being in this environment has learned us how to just to speak to people and to love people of all backgrounds, of all stages of life and all situations, you know. Because you can imagine having a kind of like a bookstore, a Christian bookstore in the center of London. I mean, you come across all types of people, you know. We've been able to meet, yeah, different backgrounds, different social statuses, uh, even different believers, just how to be with other believers, you know. Even that itself is great, you know, because believers, you know, we all have different ways of doing things, different practices, you can say. But, you know, learning just to be one with them, just, you know, to focus on the key things, on Christ, and not to focus on, oh, why do they, you know, pray this way, or why do they do this, you know, but just to like be here as a factor of life, you know, to minister life to them and to help them grow spiritually. So I feel like when you, yeah, anyways, I don't know if that answers your question, Paulo, but I feel spiritually for me and my wife has helped us to grow spiritually, and yeah, just spiritual growth, you know, to be able to take care of people, love people. Um, but also comes with challenges, right? Like, and I think a lot of that growth comes not just because you're living a good life, but there's a lot of difficult situations too that help you, make you desperate to seek the Lord. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
I was just about to ask you, like, you know, relocating for the Lord, it can be great, but there are challenges, and you just mentioned. I just wanted to ask, what were some of those challenges, and how did the Lord like shepherd you through those situations? What was the Lord's like supply for you to get through those challenges?
Yeah. I think for me, challenges, obviously, I'm being a Latino, I'm very tight with my family. Gabby too, obviously, kind of similar background. So not having family around, we did have her family, the side of the family. So that was great because they used to live here. They lived here for a few years. Now they're back in Brazil. But we had some family here. So that was good. But for me coming here, you know,
Yeah.
different culture, being away from my family, or even from the, you know, my friends, you know, all my life of just kind of big chunk of my life was in Houston. That was difficult, not knowing not many people here. But I'll say, to answer your question, the Lord shepherded me through the church community that I found here, through his body. You know, when I got here, I was connected with a lot of local Christians in the area where we moved, and they just embraced us. They were basically um, the ones that supported us. You know, we would just spend time in their homes. Obviously, we do spiritual things, you know, like enjoy the Bible, pray together. But as simple as going to their home to watch like a TV series, you know, like watch something together or have a meal together, spend time with their families.
Yeah.
So I feel having the Lord really shepherded us through his body, through the body of Christ. Um, and yeah, difficult times. I mean, I have different experience. One experience maybe I can share with you guys. I remember that I had is when we moved to London. You know, we had an apartment, and even find an apartment in London, like many places like Boston or other places in the U.S., it's hard. You know, it's
Yeah.
very competitive. It's so expensive. And you know, moving from Texas, I was like, what? It's like it costs this much, you know? But anyways, the Lord took care of that. I remember we had an apartment. It was great. We lived near to a family church family that we knew, and it was walking distance to our work, which is, you know, the bookshop where we serve. It was great. You know, we started receiving friends from the U.S. and, you know, kind of making it our nest. Well, and we used to even have like Christian meetings in our home with students, because where we live, there's a big concentration of like college students. So we used to invite some college students to our homes, just to spend time and to end the week. But one time out of nowhere, it just like it got flooded. The apartment flooded, which is rare because Houston's known for flooding.
Yeah.
London is not known for flooding. Uh, but it flooded. Yeah, it was like it was one of those things that is kind of unexpected.
Oh man, that's the worst. Did a pipe break? A pipe broke?
No,
Or?
what happened is we lived in a building. We were at the bottom floor, like we're that like the ground floor, you can say. And there was so here in London it's known for raining a lot, but then during the summer it's beautiful. And that summer it was very sunny, very pleasant. And it didn't rain for like almost 2 months, I think. And maybe the drainage of the building clogged. I don't know. So when it started raining, it poured. It was pouring for like very heavily, that I guess the drainage it was blocked. So it's actually the apartment above us got really like flooded. The water level went high. So what happened is the water was just looking for ways to escape. So like our light bulbs were like dripping water, or like our
Oh,
walls were water. It was kind of interesting. It was interesting what happened. Um, and that experience, I remember thinking, what is happening? It kind of shakes you, because you think you're serving the Lord, or you're opening your home to other Christians, you're
yeah.
doing this and that, and you're like, what? So basically, out of that, we had to vacate the house, the apartment. We had to leave. Thankfully, our work, the Christian charity said, don't worry, we'll send a van, get your stuff in there, and we'll store it for you. But in the meantime, it's like we're homeless for like, not homeless, but we're without a home for like what, almost 3 months. 3 months. We're living with other believers who we know. So and then it was like, in those moments, I felt like the testing came, to realize, well, why am I here? Because during that time I was complaining. I was like, God, I'm here. I made this big move for you.
Mhm.
I was kind of the Lord exposing me this attitude of like the Lord owes me something. God owes me something because I'm doing Him a favor by being here in London, serving Him. Anyways, the Lord has ways to expose us, to expose our heart. What Jeremiah says is true. The heart is deceitful, and we have all these things in us that the Lord has to. So, anyways, that was a very difficult period of time, but at the same time, very enjoyable spiritually, because that allowed my wife and us to really reconsecrate afresh to God and to the Lord, to realize we're here not for ourselves, really, right? The Lord is the one who brought us here and who's taking care of us. So our spiritual roots went deeper during that time. And also we got more built up with the church community that we're in. Because you can imagine we're living in their homes for like.
Yeah.
And so they didn't just open their hearts, but they really opened their homes to us, and their fridge, their space. And so
Mm.
we really got built up with them. Yeah.
So you and your wife, your first few years of marriage were in the UK, in London.
Yeah.
So we're all married here. I know what the first year of marriage is like. There's already a lot of adjustment.
Yeah.
And then doing that in a place that's new, at least for you, like those first few years of marriage. Um, I mean, I know you guys have a child now, but what was that like? Was there an added challenge even in that? And how did the Lord shepherd you to be a husband?
It's good. Yeah. Um, no doubt. I mean, at the beginning of our marriage, like most marriages, we were like rubbing elbows, why, little things, like adjustment. It's a period of adjustment, right? At least the first year. Um, but I mean, honestly, we didn't struggle that much, which is great.
That's
I
awesome.
remember I remember the brother that married us. He said something. He said, Adolfo, your honeymoon doesn't have to end. Sometimes we have the concept, it's like, okay, honeymoon is this period, and then like, oh, get ready for like your suffering, like, oh, you're gonna get dealt with. but it doesn't have to be that way. And it's true. I mean, I think what saved my wife and I, and it's true, we just got busy with the things of God. You know,
Mhm.
we got so busy taking care of people and taking care of, like his service that we didn't have time to argue. There was no time to to, I don't know, uh, not to say we didn't argue. There was definitely, disagreements and things like that. But the initial years, honestly, we were so busy. Gabby was having Bible phone calls. I was also kind of ushering to that service at the beginning when we first moved to London to work with the Christian nonprofit. We went to different Christian events because part of the Christian charity here, Amana Trust, what they do, they go to different Christian events to distribute free Bibles and the Christian literature that we have. And so we're involved in all these things. We're doing seminars, like I said, we're opening our home to students, to come and just spend time with us. And I feel like just being involved in all these things, taking care of the things of God, having our hands full, just preserved us um, I guess, yeah, having major, I guess, disagreement problems. So it was sweet, honestly. It was sweet. I felt like I would like to say we're still in our honeymoon. We're still in our honeymoon. We're still, but obviously it derives too from your personal touch. I feel like if that's why I think going back to what I said earlier about me going to the Bible school became like I was equipped, became a foundation. Really, it's a foundation because it helped me how to contact the Lord, how to spend time in the Word. And when you have that, I think, and I guess it really helps you in your marriage life, at least in my experience. But definitely, I think, yeah, it was nothing extraordinary that we did. Nothing. There was I mean, there there was definitely complainings. There was different, but because we were so busy just taking care of people and just doing, involving in a lot of in the service of the Lord, then I don't. It wasn't, yeah. In regards to our marriage and coming here, that's what I mean.
Okay.
But like I mentioned, there was other difficulties, like the apartment flooding or other things. Emotionally too, there's time where it's difficult. You miss family, but I feel like and I don't know, just when you're just following the Lord
Amen.
and you're in the center of His move, what He's doing, that we're just blessed. The difficulties and the struggles, they become so small
Wow.
because
That's
the joys and the glory is so great. The things that you're handling, the things that you're involved. I mean, yeah, the things that we've been able to experience being here in London is just we're just thank the Lord, and we're so blessed and privileged to be able to be here.
Amen.
Awesome. Yeah.
When you're involved doing the greatest work on earth, the problems get taken care of. The problems seem smaller. Wow.
It's incredible. Yeah, we've been it's sweet. Yeah, we have yeah. For example, in the bookshop, we every Saturday we have a Bible study with Christians from the community. And that's been so great, because they come and we get to see transformations, how God has been changing their lives,
Wow.
and yeah, different experiences.
Great. So, what does a day or a week in your life look like with your service? Is it the same as your wife? You have the same schedule, or what? What does it look? Take us through a day or a week of what it's like serving the Lord in for you, just for those who, because when people serve the Lord, people ask like, "What do you really do?" Like what do you,
Yeah.
what does a day or a week look like for you in your service?
Yeah. Well, I guess for me, I'm obviously working for this Christian charity, this Christian nonprofit, Mana Trust. So my work is kind of a little bit more structured because I already know, I'm basically working with this bookshop. It's like running a retail store, basically taking care of people. Yeah, I'll say my service is just people center, And also I get that's from my work, but then I'm very involved also with the campus ministry here in London. So I joined. There's a group of like a campus ministry team that meets. They use our bookshop actually for their meetings, for their times of prayer. So I joined them for that. So usually, what it will look like, now with our son, we wake up earlier. Just basically take care of Noah, get up, um, try to endeavor to eat breakfast together. So our times with the Lord, because as believers, I was taught that that it's good to spend time with the Lord in the mornings, right? But when you have a child, it doesn't look the way you used to do it before, right? For me, for example, sometimes the way that it looks like is that when I'm walking to the bookshop, that's my time with the Lord. That's when I can pray, really just reconsecrate my being to the Lord. Then I come. So it's what it looks like for me practically is just like a lot of meetings, a lot of times of prayer, with the campus ministry team. I usually meet with them to pray for the students, kind of to support them in their labor. And then from the bookshop standpoint, I get the opportunity to be here in the bookshop and to take care of people, because people walk in and they're either asking for, they're already Christians. Also, they're asking, oh, can I, I'm looking for this specific book. Or sometimes they're just people that walk in and they want to know about God or about the Christian faith. So my job is to share the Christ that we have and to share what we have. Even to, we give our study Bible too. And so that's what it looks like. Usually I'm usually I'm usually done with that around 4:30 p.m. But depending, sometimes if I want to help with my other activities with my church, then I'll go. So sometimes it gets full. It's full during the week. It's full.
Wow.
So technically our days off are on Monday. So my schedule is from Tuesday to Saturdays, and then Sunday and Mondays are kind of my day off. But many times, because we take care of people, I mean, Mondays we're just spending time with people or students or people from the community. Yeah.
Do you offer your customers Bible studies? Like whoever walks into your bookshop, do you offer them to read the Bible with them, or is that not something you offer?
We used to do as an organization, as a managers organization, we used to offer a lot of kind of like phone Bible studies at one point. But at the moment, we're not doing that. We're concentrating on something else. We do have a Bible study on Saturdays here that takes place in person. So we do offer sometimes, depending, I guess, just depending on where that person is. Because sometimes what we do is, if a person comes in is really interested, and we just kind of realize, okay, they're new to the Christian faith, then we will do like one-on-one. We'll invite them back to the bookshop, but more like a one-on-one appointment. So they can, they have more opportunities to express what the questions that they have, or But sometimes there's Christians that they're already a little bit more solidified in the faith, and they really are looking more for like a community, a group Bible study. Then we can guide them to say, hey, we have a Bible study on Saturdays. You're welcome to come. But then our charity also they have different events at our main location, our main office that's located in East London. We have events that we do there. So yeah, it just depends. But yeah, yeah, it just really depends. But it's a lot with people, Paulo. Our day today is really with people. We spend a lot of time with people, caring for people.
Wow.
And sometimes I realize, even what it means to serve the Lord is basically just, sometimes it's not talking. It's just sitting there, listening to people, because, you have people from all type of situations, different struggles, mental health. Even sometimes in the bookshop, we have people with alcohol, drug abuse, that come in, they're broken. But, just what can I'm not an expert on those things. I'm
Right.
only here to render spiritual help. But the best, sometimes, I just learn just to listen to them.
Amen.
Sometimes people just want to hear
Yeah.
someone to listen. So, yeah, I guess in my experience, what it looks like is that it's mainly just spend a lot of time with people, having a lot of time of prayer, having meetings to, yeah, to pray for people.
Caring for people is not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy to bear someone. Yeah. So that's an amazing work.
I did want to ask you, Adolfo, has there ever been a time where, somebody walks in and it's like just like a highlight experience that you never forgot about? Like maybe somebody comes in, they slam the table and they're like, I need God. You sell books, but I need God, something like that. Has anything like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. But there's multiple. It's amazing being in this. Sir, being here, it's been great. But we had it, for example, one experience that exactly what happened. I was here with my wife. My wife was here too at the bookstore, and we were just here, just kind of. We opened the bookstore, and then we had this young girl who came in, and she just stood there and she said, "I need God." But literally, just kind of what you asked, and so you just my wife and I, we kind of looked at each other at the shock, but then she moved in to kind of take care of her and like basically share a little bit of the gospel, the gospel to her, to let her know what, the meaning of a human life is really to be filled with God and to express God. And yeah, we led her to receive Christ as her life and savior. And even my wife, I think, exchanged numbers with her, but we never saw her again. Uh, that's one. I mean,
Wow.
I mean, there's many other experiences too. Another person too that came in once, and she already had been a Christian, but she was a prodigal son Christian, and she came in, and I think we are having a Bible study in the background, but I was there, I just said, "How can we help you?" And I forgot what she asked. I think I'm looking for a Bible. She asked for a Bible. And as we were talking, I was like, I was just having a conversation with her. She just started crying. Tears came down. She was kind of crying a lot, and eventually just figured out that she felt like, she told me, "I feel like God is far away from me." And she just said that, I feel like I want to return, but I just don't know how to. I want to come back to Him, but I just don't know how to. So that was really precious, be able to share. Now that we're experts by no means, but we're able to. I feel like it's just a blessing that we're able just to share experience. So I was able to share with her that Luke 15, and share, look, it doesn't matter. You can always come back to our Father. So it's really sweet, and many other experiences. I mean, we had different experiences. Yeah.
Wow. I guess I was just thinking, you're in the U.S., you're in Europe. Europe has a different landscape, a different, background than the U.S. The U.S. is a country that, at least historically Christian, but now, trying to keep it that way. That Europe, deeper Christian roots, but now, what is your current like read on the Lord's move in Europe, and like the need for, like, if we were to pray for what you're doing there, like, if we were, how would you say it? We could pray for Europe and for what the Lord is doing in that region of the world. Like, what's your current burden for your area? I feel.
Yeah. To some extent, I guess what I can say is that the need, the spiritual need is the same everywhere. They all need just Christ, right? The need is Christ. They need Christ. Well, two things: they need reality and they need community. That reality we know is Christ, and the community is the church, us, the body of Christ. So I feel that that's everywhere, right? So I feel that with you is the same. Um, but you do feel like, I guess historically here in Europe, very Christian, but people got damaged because of religion and the hypocrisy. So there was a kind of generation that became atheist, agnostic, or very against this thought of religion. For them, it's kind of like an old school thought for some of them. But more so, I feel like with this new generation, new European generation, there's a real desire, or even I forget who I was recently watching this podcast by another dear brother called Wesley Huff. He's a theologian, and yeah, he was kind of saying, kind of like, I think it's kind of like a rebellion against their parents being atheists or agnostic, kind of like, because they knew their maybe the great great grandfather was a Christian, but now they want to know, what does this Bible say? Well, kind of like, so there's definitely you see that here, because you do meet a lot of at least the locals, that at least here in England, Church of England is the state church. So a lot of them grew up with going to this Church of England schools, or they're baptized, so they have basic understanding. But many of them got hurt, they're damaged by religion. So if I was to say, how can you pray? It's just to pray that the Lord will gain people in Europe that really know reality and can find this community, which is the church. So people that will find Christ and they can find the church. Yeah. Because yeah, they need Christ as a reality, they need to have a genuine experience of Christ, of the reality that he is everything that they need, and to have a real experience, a subjective experience.
Amen. Wonderful.
Yeah.
My brother, what are you going to take us? What are you thinking?
We probably watch the same podcast, just just mentioning, but I think we'd be remiss if we don't talk about fatherhood, you know, and
Mm.
what it was like, being with your wife while she was pregnant, and being with your son, and how has that been? What is that? There's already a transition of becoming a husband, but then becoming a father. How has the Lord shepherded you through that as well?
Yeah. Fatherhood. Yeah, that's a big one, honestly. Yeah. I mean, it's is fatherhood. What can I say about fatherhood? I'm just, I'm learning so much. But yeah, the coming of my son is definitely like life changing, in many ways. It was so good. Um, spiritually, it just makes you more desperate to, it says that, what was it? Enoch started walking with Enosh started walking with God, once after he had children, So, yeah, I just so the pregnancy, thankfully, my wife's pregnancy was well. Everything was good. She had a good pregnancy, and we had a lot of support by a lot of Christians, or even, the people that we took care of here through the bookstore. There was a lot of prayer, which is the wonderful thing, when you remember I told we have this Bible study every Saturday here in the bookshop with the Christians from the community. A lot of them were just praying, Even some sisters were laying their hands on the belly and praying for Noah, and you just sense the love and the care. We realize, wow, really, God is with us. Really, God is taking care of everything. So thankfully, in that aspect, there was no complications, and great benefit about being in the UK is that you have free healthcare. Not trying to advertise, but honestly, in that aspect, everything was taken care of. We had no issues. Even we feel that that was also the Lord's care for us. The medical care she received, all that was taken care of at no cost. So that was amazing. Um, and even they had like midwives that come to you to your home afterwards. After you give birth, once you're home, they have midwives that come for a few weeks to come and check at the baby, check at the mom, to make sure that she's recovering well. And even this is wonderful. One of the midwife that was assigned to us, she was a Christian. It was great. So even that was great. So I guess what I'm saying is, behind every little detail, we just felt that the Lord was just caring for us, because it was a big change, and all of a sudden, I guess the biggest for us, practically speaking, was just sleep. Honestly, for us, I mean, each child is different, I know some that have children that sleep amazing, and good for them. I mean, I'm so glad your child can sleep. But for us, in our case, our son since the beginning was a terrible sleeper. So, so yeah, sleep deprivation is pretty serious. You know, it's exhausting, emotionally. I mean, physically, but emotionally more so. So that was a big challenge. Um, and I feel even we're still recovering from that with my wife and I. You know, even because my son he's born 4th of July of 2024, so he's a year, and he came on his due date. Even the delivery was intense. He came on his date, and even the way he came out the lobby of the hospital. Even it was kind of quite a scene.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, it was intense. It was intense, but everything was taken care of. You know, like I mentioned, we received the proper medical help. Um, but yeah, it's no, it's a year, what, and a year and yeah, a year and 9 months at this point. So we're kind of he's sleeping much better now. You know, I mean, that's the thing. When you have children, you get a thousand what do you call recommendations, methods. But at the end of the day, sometimes your child is the way it is. Um, and you just, yeah, I mean, spiritually speaking, it helped us a lot. But even as a couple, it helped us to depend a lot, because we don't have family here. So my wife and I, we just learn to make mistakes together, learn together. So fatherhood has been great, but yeah, it's been tiring. If I'm honest, tiring. Mainly because of that. So Pablo, yeah.
Yeah. I'm taking a lot of notes of what you're saying, bro. I'm gonna have to have another call with you after this just to talk about.
But bro, if your child can sleep, you're good, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the baby can sleep, and if it's a good sleeper, you can tackle anything. I feel like, at least for us, man, if you're not sleeping at night, the next day it's just so difficult to do things.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, because if you get good sleep throughout the night, then in the morning you can tackle anything. If the baby doesn't want to eat, it's okay. Like, you have at least the energy. But when you're like sleep deprived, it's just so tired. I
Wow.
mean, in general, you will be sleep deprived the first 3 months at least, or you never know. But yeah,
Wow.
it's.
Yeah.
I mean, you learn to, you learn just to fully rely on God. And I remember my wife and I, we have many experiences of, because we try different things like sleep training, and all these things. And people say, "Oh, well, you should try this." All right, we'll try it. We even saw, like, my wife reached out to a sleep consultant for like babies, because we needed to get, we just needed help. But and I remember those nights, sometimes it's like 2 a.m. and you're like, Lord, make him sleep. Yeah. You want the Lord to to do miracles. But you realize that those moments is like, no, like, you just have to depend on his grace. His grace is sufficient, like the Lord said to Paul, it's sufficient for us.
Amen.
So,
Wow.
but
Thanks for sharing that. I'm assuming he's almost 2 years old, right? He's
yeah,
almost.
he would turn 2 in July. Yeah.
So he's definitely he says dad or daddy already. He already
Papa,
okay.
Papa.
Papa? Oh,
Yeah,
even
Papa.
even sweeter. What was it like the first time he said that to you? Was there? Yeah, I've heard that experience from other brothers. What
Yeah.
can you, was there a sweetness, or was it something when he
Well, I
first
have
called?
to say, he's a boy, and initially, the typical thought was like, "Oh, boy, he's gonna be mama's boy," like he's gonna be more attached. But actually, no, for some reason, he's a daddy's boy. I have to say, even if he asks my wife, he will say it's a daddy's boy. I don't know. I think my Noah and I, we just have a special bond, and it's just since the beginning. Because I remember after he was born, like I told you, he was born in Lavi. They had to take Gabby and Noah right away to receive the medical help. And so my mother-in-law stayed with Gabby, and says, "Okay, you go take care of Noah." So since the beginning, since he came out, I just was with them, and I don't know if that kind of like established our bond. Possibly, I don't know. Um, but yeah, I feel like even before he said Papa to me, I don't know. There's just, I think once you see him, once you see your baby, at least for me, it was like, wow, this are, you know,
Yeah,
but
well, one of the reason I asked the question is because the word for father in the New Testament, Abba, is like a sweet like daddy. It's almost like
it's really
so
that.
we're told to call the Lord, our Father that, right? Abba, Father. So
Yeah,
when you hear that coming from your son, and it makes you just realize it unlocks that experience of how the Father feels when we call him that, So,
I
anyways,
agree, Pablo. I agree. In that aspect, I feel like this experience of God being our Father was uplifted in me spiritually. So I completely agree with that because it's not I mean, not to say we cannot understand the Father, but when you become actual, earthly Father, then there, you have that experience, and at least in my experience, it uplifted my view of this matter that we have a Father, and kind of like you said, even when we call Abba Father or Father, help me, or Father, I need you. It's because I've touched that, with my son, when Noah tells me, Papa, even when I come home, he's like, Papa, Papa. And he's like, your heart melts. I'm like, what do you need? I'll do whatever you want. So it's
well,
true. Yeah. And it's true. You realize, wow, this is how, if we, because even the Lord said, right, if your earthly father will give you, how much more your heavenly father, right?
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, if we have such a response in us for our, our children, our Father, Heavenly Father, how much more, he wants
amen.
to give to us. He wants he gives his best to us. Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah,
Wow. What an experience. That's great. We're gonna near time soon, but I don't know if you have another follow-up
Y- Yeah,
question.
just before we get to our like end of show segments, I think I just feel like I need to, ask this. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people listening
hmm
that may be young married couple, and or they're just maybe they're single, but they just have this feeling that the Lord wants them to relocate, and they are maybe even afraid of the life that you're living. And from your testimony, you're married, you're in another country, you're serving the Lord, you're even raising a son, and the Lord is taking care of all these things. What is an encouragement that you would give to that person that's right there about to make the decision, but they feel the Lord is saying go, but it's hard for them to move. What would you say to that person?
yeah, yeah. That's a good question. Actually, just today in my Bible reading, I came, if it's okay, I came across Mark chapter 10. And this chapter became new to me, and I feel like it kind of will answer this question. In Mark chapter 10, the Lord talks about this matter of, the rich man who, came to the Lord and says, have kept the commandments. Um, and the Lord says, right, but, go sell all that you have and follow me. And he says he left bitterly, he left he was weeping, kind of like he couldn't do it. But in the same chapter, the Lord says, what is impossible for man is possible for God.
Mm.
So I was just having just some fellowship with a brother about this, and realized that in that experience, you realize that, we cannot do it. Even in this matter of following the Lord, maybe the Lord's calling you to go somewhere, and there's the fears, there's the doubts, but our God is a God of impossibilities. And if we're honest to the Lord, if we come to the Lord and say, Lord, yeah, I cannot do it, but I want to follow you, the Lord will do it. And so that's from, I guess, the spiritual aspect, opening to the Lord, to realize that the Lord, is is it possible with them. And even in that chapter that I read, Peter later on comes to the Lord after that rich ruler leaves, and he says, Lord, but we have left it all for you. What is it for us? And the Lord says that there's no one who has left father and mother, land, who, basically the Lord comforts him to say, yeah, there's a reward, but it's not in this age, in the coming age, and so there's that encouragement, right? That, we feel, You can say you're gonna leave behind what you know from military God, but the Lord is faithful to give Himself to you. Um, and I think that's from the spiritual aspect, which is key. I think, especially in this matter of following the Lord, is just to realize, yeah, we cannot do it, but we're open to Him, right? We have an open heart to Him to realize that God is a God of impossibilities. um, but then practically speaking, I feel like in my experience, what helped me is, I guess, one was that my wife was already here in London, so that, that connection was already here. And so she had already a community of Christians who was connected. And so I came to visit her. So I guess that helped, is to get familiar with the place. Wherever you feel the Lord sending you, it's just to visit a place and to find, that community that will support you. Because when I came here, that was a big factor of why I feel like I've been here so long, because I had this community that has been kind of support to us. Even with that experience that I shared with y'all about, our apartment flooding, they were there, they were there for us in the most difficult time. Even when Noah was born, we received so much, care, love. Even they'll cook meal for us. So I feel, yeah, if the Lord is compelling you to move, but yeah, just to find, a community that will be your support. Now, if the Lord is moving you to a place where there's no like community, where maybe it's like, you never know where the Lord will move you, right? It can be somewhat remote even. Still, I guess we have to realize that the Lord is for us and the Lord will care for us. Even continue what we spoke with Pablo, our Father, right? Our Father knows what we need. And at least we have the promises in Matthew, right? That He will take care of our food, our clothing, and our lodging.
Yeah.
And there will be no need. So, uh, yeah, I guess the question is, do we trust? Do we trust that He's faithful, right? That He will take care of all this, and even in our psychological needs, our emotional needs, that, and our experience, like being here. Sometimes you say, "Oh yeah, being in Europe is difficult, all this," but in other hands, oh man, it's so great. I get to walk here. Europe is so accessible to me. For example, look, I'm a football fan. I live in like soccer fan. Sorry, soccer fan. Look, I'm in Europe, I got the opportunity to go watch some soccer games, top league, Even on those small things, I feel the Lord's been just shepherding me, It's been so great to live in Europe. I got to visit like Spain, Portugal. So in so many ways, the
Wow.
the Lord is faithful, to take care of our entire being.
Wow. And I bet in those countries you mentioned, you probably met believers there too, right? You met other believers around Europe.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've been able to meet believers in in Portugal and Spain and other places that in Paris that we went. Um, yeah, there's dear Christians everywhere, and
Wow.
believers. And so when you're with them, you just feel like home,
Yeah, right. And that goes to the verse that you shared. I really like the verse you shared, Adolfo, about when the Lord answers, there's no one who has left, all these things for the gospel's sake, but will not receive 100 times more houses and brothers and sisters, right?
Yeah.
I think that's our experience today. Like when we follow the Lord, anyways, I just appreciate your testimony. Like now you have houses and brothers and sisters in multiple continents. Like back in Texas, you go to Houston, they're like open arms for Adolfo. Now in London,
Yeah.
it's like open arms. So I think, anyway, the more we move for the Lord and we kind of follow the Lord, the more we explore all these riches that we have in the body
Yeah,
of Christ.
exactly.
I feel like you've gotten that experience firsthand in all your moves.
Yeah, yeah. So we just need to be simple, I think, and obviously there this practical consideration if people are moving with a family and all that, but I think the core is like our opening to the Lord, our realizing that in one sense we cannot do it. I mean, even me coming here, like I told you, I didn't have like this strong desire. I never imagined myself coming, but I guess the Lord in His heart, He softened me to say yes. Okay, I'm willing to come. And yeah, and we just He's the God of impossibilities. Otherwise, we're like the rich ruler, who if we think we can do it, or we think we're good, or we can move for the Lord, we can follow Him, or then we just go away crying, bitter, but he is all things are possible with him. So, yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, I love that. God is our Father, and God is the God of impossibilities.
Yeah.
That's just so encouraging. Um,
Yeah.
we're nearing time. I don't know, Pablo, do you have any other questions, or are we good to start?
Amen. No, I just enjoy the theme of this conversation. God is our Father, and God is the God of impossibilities. And you just see it in Adolfo's life. I'm just really encouraged by the whole testimony and just seeing what the Lord has done in our brother's life. And we have a Father. It's so awesome. We have a Father. He
We
cares
have a
for us.
Father.
And I'm refreshed to hear Adolfo. I mean, I've known Adolfo for a long time, but anyways, first time I sit down for an hour and a half to listen to him. So
So
it's been good.
good.
It's been great. Thank you, Adolfo. But we do have some questions at the end that we'd like to ask our guests before we end the episode.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we like to end our episodes. We used to call them rapid fire questions, but I think we're changing the name. So we call this segment "Who is this vessel?" And it's based on the 2 Corinthians 4:7. We
Okay.
have this treasure in earthen vessels, and we spent all this time talking about this treasure in our earthen vessel, who is Christ. We've just been speaking the words of this life that's in us.
Yeah.
But we do want to spend some time to get to know you in a human way. And we do have some, they're not so spiritual questions, just like top of the mind things that we'd like to hear from you. So my
Great.
first question is, the United States and the UK, they're similar, but they're kind of different.
Yeah.
We drive on the right side, y'all drive on the left side. We call it fries, y'all call it chips. But um, what is one thing that, is different than, Texas, that you just absolutely love that
Yeah.
London offers, or you know what I'm saying? Like what's one thing about London that you love that's different than Texas?
I love that I can get out of my house and just walk anywhere. So it's very accessible for pedestrians. I love that because you're from Houston, or people that are watching that are from Texas or California. You just drive everywhere, right? Like talking about walking on the street is like weird, or it's like, what will you walk? So yeah, I love that, and the public transportation. I love riding on trains actually. Even here to go from London to Cambridge, or to go to North London, north of the UK, trains are so accessible and so comfortable. So I love that about the UK. And summers here are beautiful. Like summers in the UK are really beautiful. As you know, right? I'm from Texas. Summers in Texas are, oh man. I mean, I love the sun, but that humidity level in Texas and Houston is too much. I mean, now that I live here, I wonder how did we play soccer at 3 p.m. when we were in high school? No wonder you hear so many stories of
In
heat
Houston.
stroke. Yes, in
Yeah,
Houston.
yeah, people would faint.
So, so I do appreciate, like, I guess, yeah, that's being able to walk anywhere. The public transportation, and summers here are just beautiful. Yeah.
Wow. Right.
Great.
Being a soccer
Second,
guy.
yeah, yeah. Go
Favorite.
ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, that was
Fa-
literally my question, like a soccer question. But go ahead.
No way, soccer. Okay, we can go on a little soccer few questions because he's a soccer guy. So, favorite Premier League? What's your favorite Premier League
A
team?
Premier League team, Manchester United.
Man, you okay?
Man, you, yes. I was able to see them. Actually, it was amazing that I was able to go watch them twice. No, 3 times actually.
Okay.
And I got to see Ronaldo. When he came back, when he was at
Eh,
Manchester United. That little period he had.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was able to catch a game. It was amazing.
Now, now that you mention him, are you Messi or Ronaldo?
Whoa, I'm a Ronaldo fan.
I knew it.
Wow.
I knew
Okay.
it. I knew it. There's something about Southwest Houston. Most people are Ronaldo guys.
That's great. I still love you, brother.
Oh, I hope we can still have fellowship, right, bro?
Yes.
You're still,
Absolutely.
Okay, and then we'll end on a family note. What is what is your favorite date night spot with your wife, and what is your favorite activity to do with your son? I know he's young, but
Yeah.
That's great. That's a good question.
So one thing Gabby and I enjoy doing, actually, just living here in London, is going to see musicals. London, kind of like New York, has what is called the West End, which is kind of like the Broadway of New York. So yeah, living here, we just learn to appreciate musicals. So that's one activity that my wife and I like to do whenever we haven't had we haven't had the opportunity to go watch a musical in a long time. But yeah, when we're before Noah came, or even hopefully soon, we love to go eat dinner, and then uh, there's a lot of Brazilian community here in London, so we can find good Brazilian food. So sometimes we go eat Brazilian food, and then we'll go watch a musical or something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
And then with Noah, one activity I like to do is just dancing with him. It's cute. He's in a cute stage where he loves dancing. He's into this. I don't know if you brothers know this kids show. It's called The Wiggles.
oh yeah, I know.
Yeah,
The like 4 or 5 of them, and they play instruments, right?
yeah. But we watched the original, actually. The four original guys that started this show. So he's really into that. And so the whole point of their show is like they sing, but they also dance, and Noah loves dancing. So me and him, sometimes he will ask me to dance with him. So that's one thing we like doing. And then I'm trying to get him to kick the ball more, though. Trying to foster this kind of, all right, you need to be the next Ronaldo.
Project Ronaldo. I gotta hop over the pond sometime and go visit you.
You have to. You too, eh? Come visit us. You can go have some fish and chips.
Yeah.
And go explore London. There's a lot to see, actually. Yeah, London. It's very rich, also in church history. My wife and I, actually, in the apartment that we currently live in, we're not too far from Wesley Chapel, John Wesley's chapel. So it's really amazing. There's a lot to see. Yeah.
That's awesome.
London is on my bucket list. One day, that city will see me.
Please come.
Thank you so much, Adolfo, for joining us today and sharing your experience, your enjoyment of Christ, and all that the Lord has done. I think is very helpful for all our listeners. And to our listeners, we'd just like to say thank you for your support, following, commenting, liking. We'll keep bringing you testimonies weekly, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.